Good evening. I'm CJ Skolnekovich.
And I'm Corey Lang. And you are tuned in to Put Me in Coach. And for all you benchwarmers out there, we're here to put you in the game. But before we get started, tonight's a special night for TCTV and Put Me in Coach. We're doing our first NFL mock draft.
Yeah, TCTV's first mock draft. It's a little bit different than what we're used to, but it should be fun. Should be a good time.
Should be a good time, and we're shooting for a longer episode this time, so hopefully it turns out to be a good one.
Yeah, so why don't you get us started off here with our first pick?
For the first pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, Myles Garrett, the defensive end out of Texas A&M, will go to the Cleveland Browns. Garrett comes into the draft at 272 pounds, and his height is 6 feet 4 inches. Big things were expected from Garrett, and he did not disappoint at the college level.
The freshman All-American and second-team All-SEC had 11.5 sacks as a freshman, and he was honored as the nation's top defender with a sophomore at 19.5 tackles for loss and 5 forced fumbles.
Garrett has many strengths. He is bigger than he looks, an uber athlete with spring-loaded hips and elite explosiveness. But some weaknesses, he relies too heavily on tremendous athleticism and explosion and gets too cozy with blockers and hold on to them too long.
You know, I've seen a lot of great plays from him, but I've also heard that he's not there most of the time. He's making the big plays when necessary, but he's not making the big plays when it's not necessary.
Exactly, and this goes back to when he holds on too long. I mean, that could really hurt you in a big game if you're stepping up to the NFL, and if you're a #1 draft. They're not going to want to see that out of you.
Yeah, we'll see if he actually goes first, but it's a very strong chance he's going to go first. Moving on to number 2, we have Solomon Thomas, defensive end out of Stanford University, and he's projected to be the second pick for this year's draft.
Pumping out 30 reps in the bench press, 126 inches broad jump, the 49ers might have a player they could rely on in the near future.
After a redshirt season, Thomas was named honorable mention All Pac-12 in 2015. And he can line up at middle positions, and he can also get out of blocks quickly and attack with early, skilled hands.
Lastly, Thomas likes to stay hungry and wants to feast, and I think he will be able to feast with the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, they need a lot of players on that team. They were, I believe, 31st in offense and last in defense, so they're going to be looking for a great player at either side of the ball.
That team went through a lot last year with the Kaepernick issues and head coaching issues, so hopefully they can start to rally up and get a lot of help.
They can't go wrong with this guy. He's going to be a great pick for them, I think.
Yeah. With the third pick in the draft, we believe Marshawn Lattimore out of Ohio State will get picked by the Chicago Bears. Lattimore came out of the combine with a 4.36 40-yard dash.
He was out of his entire freshman year with a hamstring issue, which led him to have surgery. But he played 7 games in 2015, but could not finish the season due to the chronic issue coming up again.
In the 2016 season, Lattimore won a starting position and was named first-team All-Big Ten. The cornerback plays with explosive hip flips that just jump-starts him into speed when forced to turn and run.
When he was guarding, he was targeted 35 times this past season and credited with 14 passes defended, including 4 interceptions. Now the Bears, their defense, again, it needs work. That's another team that just needs a lot of help everywhere. And I think a secondary player is going to be a great start for them.
And that goes on to our next pick. As the Jacksonville Jaguars have the 4th pick overall, they will take their running back from LSU, Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, Fournette's amazing. He's the best running back in this draft this year.
Exactly.
He's powerful. We've all seen his highlights of him trucking people. But he also has he's got great awareness, cuts, power. He's got everything you want in a running back. But after his 3 years of school, he's clearly made his mark, and he led the SEC in all-purpose yards as a true freshman.
With setting records like he did his freshman year, he followed that up with nearly clearing the 2,000-yard mark and scoring 22 touchdowns his sophomore year.
His junior year did not go as planned, as Fournette suffered a preseason ankle injury, which was aggravated several times during the year. But Fournette is a full-on grown man, and he is built with linebacker and speed like a receiver.
I think the Jaguars are going to be really lucky if they're able to pick up Fournette tonight.
Yeah, they got great players so far. They got Blake Bortles. They have their wide receiver cores have been getting better, and their defensive line and linebackers have been getting a lot stronger. So I think if they can establish their running game with Leonard Fournette this season, they could be a team to watch out for.
Like we talked earlier this year, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they have the players, but it was all in the coaching that had the issues.
Yeah, they could, if they get him and he's successful in that offense, they could be a team that a little bit scarier than most of the time.
The wide receiver out of the ACC from Clemson University, Mike Williams, will be the 5th overall pick to the Tennessee Titans.
The 2016 season, the first-team All-ACC player caught 84 passes for 1,171 yards and 10 scores.
He fills out the uniform as well as any receiver in college football. He has long arms, big hands, and can go get the throws at the highest point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part for a receiver, especially when you get towards the red zone. You start throwing those fades. You want to be able to high point the ball, and that's where those big hands come into play. So we'll see if he's able to be effective.
I know Mike Williams, this past championship game, he was a big factor in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was being double covered most of the time, but when the ball was thrown to him, he was able to make some nasty catches.
Yeah, these bigger receivers they're dangerous. They might not be as fast as some of the other guys, but what they lack in speed, they make up in size and ability to go get the ball.
A few weaknesses are he is a natural pass catcher who will occasionally run into focus drops.
Next we have O.J. Howard for the New York Jets.
Howard was the top high school recruit in the country, and it was no surprise that Nick Saban tried to keep him in Alabama. Howard's true breakdown season was in 2015, where he caught 38 passes for 602 yards and earned offensive MVP honors in the national championship game with 208 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, a tight end. That's another player where in the red zone you're looking for big plays because he's a bigger guy. He's able to go get the high points, especially in the middle, where you get the fades out by the receivers, and then the middles become a little bit more open. So if you can get that guy open on a cross or a slant, it's gonna be good. And he's a great player with his size.
I mean, Nick Saban, he's done a hell of a job with all his Alabama players. I mean, they might not come out at the end of the day with a win or not, but he's a true coach, and he knows what he's doing down there.
Yeah, Nick Saban's a great coach, and any player that you get from Alabama in the first round is going to have great knowledge of the game coming out. Next we have Malik Hooker, and after receiving first-team All-American and All-Big Ten honors, he will get drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers with the 7th pick overall.
Hooker has outstanding instincts that help him work ahead of the play despite average speed. He is always probing the quarterback's eyes for clues.
As a safety, he had 74 tackles, and 5.5 of them were for losses. The one weakness is he only had 1 solid year of experience.
Hooker is raw and still learning the position. Also, he could be a step slow to trigger downhill to take on the run.
Now, Malik Hooker is someone I got to play against in high school, and I will tell you, his speed is deceiving. He can get to the ball faster than what it looks like on tape, and he is a lot faster and tighter in coverage than you actually will think at the quarterback position. So I think he is a great pick for the first round, and I think he's going to be very successful and he's going to be even more successful as he gains experience in the NFL.
I agree.
Next we have Christian McCaffrey, and the 5'11" running back out of Stanford will most likely land a spot with the Carolina Panthers.
At the conclusion of last year and the start of this year, McCaffrey was supposed to be the hot player. Midway through the season, McCaffrey suffered an injury, but he was still able to put up numbers worthy of first-team all-conference.
McCaffrey is smooth, controlled stride, with length and with choppy feet for instant cuts and changes in direction.
Plus vision with above average for opening creases. The big issue for McCaffrey is his size. And to me, as a running back, size doesn't really matter other than muscle. But I've watched his games in college, and he's
quick.
He's quick, yeah. I mean, he cuts through the holes and gets open into open spaces.
Yeah, his vision's good. He's going to go through his reads, and he's going to find where he needs to cut and go.
And as like Carolina, they're a running team, so that's a good spot for him.
Yeah. But that's 8 picks down so far, and we have 24 more to go. When we get back, we'll tell you about our predictions for picks 9 through 16.
With 8 picks down and 8 more to go, with finishing second in the SEC with 12 sacks last season, Jonathan Allen will be drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 9th pick overall.
Allen is a superior hand grappler who can control the wrists and forearms of his opponent and his accurate hand placement. Allen won the 2016 Chuck Benderek and Bronco Nagorowski Award as the nation's top defender.
With the 10th pick in this year's NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills are going to select Garin Conley out of Ohio State. As a redshirt freshman, Conley stepped into the starting lineup against rival Michigan State for an injured Eli Apple.
Conley has the NFL size with the above-average length, but he is playing best when he's playing inside leverage and trapping receivers against the boundary.
The cornerback shades receivers with a basketball stance. I noticed with a basketball stance, it can be really helpful when you're with a player like him to get to the guy you're trying to cover.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about the positioning for cornerbacks, but anything that's going to help you cover a receiver a lot better, I'm sure it's a great thing to know going into a league like the NFL.
Exactly.
But for the 11th pick overall in this draft, we have another Alabama player, Rueben Foster, who we think will get drafted by the New Orleans Saints.
Foster was a start at inside linebacker, which turned into an elite prospect. His newfound is speed and agility while keeping his trademark aggression and instincts.
He's a downfall, but after Foster relies too much on speed and athleticism over instincts, and he is willing to take his own shots downhill into gaps. But Rueben Foster, he's another guy who, he's amazing. He's an amazing player. He's possibly the best linebacker in this draft, but we have him dropping a little bit because of his failed test he had about a few days ago. So we'll have to see if it really affects his stock or not.
Yeah, if you can't pass those tests,
it just raises questions.
Exactly. This next player we have, he was a big talk at the conclusion of the season.
Yeah, he could possibly go #1 as well. I mean, he can go anywhere between these first and 12th picks.
A 6'2" quarterback out of North Carolina will get drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 12th overall pick.
Trubisky did not get his time to shine as soon as he got to North Carolina, as he was the backup to Marquise Williams.
Trubisky had a breakout season in 2016, but only received third-team All-ACC honors. He ranked 5th in the country with a 68 completion percentage through 30 touchdowns against just 6 picks and averaged 288 passing yards per contest.
His strength is his adequate height with good muscular definition. He has very good pocket mobility and can slide around circumference of the pocket without having to drop his eyes back from their task. Now, the biggest question with Trubisky to most NFL coaches and scouts is his experience. He has only started 13 games in college, and that's, I believe, the second lowest behind Cam Newton, who was drafted a few years ago. But experience doesn't always come with skill, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, if you have the skill, I guess if you haven't been playing that long, or started that long, if you have the skill, it shouldn't hurt you if you have the mentality to go out there and do what you need to do each day, then that shouldn't hurt you at all.
Yeah, the one thing I like about not having that much experience is you're going to be able to be more coachable, and you're going to be able to tune things up a little bit finer than what you would be instead of saying, I started every game in college. This is how I throw. This is how I move.
Corey Davis, with aging Larry Fitzgerald and not a lot of experience at the wide receiver position, we believe that the Arizona Cardinals will be looking to take Corey Davis with their pick in the draft.
Davis has an alpha attitude on the field, and he's not afraid to take on the challenge of heavy target loads. He has excellent competitiveness and focuses like a laser when the ball is in the air.
He tracks the deep ball as well as anyone in college and understands how to stack cornerbacks and keep them on his hip. He also has second gear to run under the long ball.
He is an intermediate and deep parts of the field, and variable route speeds create indecisions for defenders. And vertical routes are crisp and create tilt in and off corners and safeties that he's too quick to take advantage of and can defeat inside leverage.
A quarterback's friend who works aggressively back to the ball, and he also dominates in the red zone and is a high-point catcher who uses well-timed leaps and long arms to win the 50-50 throws.
There again, we see in the red zone, those high-point balls are going to be big, but what we see with him is a lot more route running. And I think that's harder to tune up as a receiver, I feel like, to be able to plant your foot and cut really, really well.
Exactly. With the 14th pick in this year's draft, it's most likely that the Philadelphia Eagles will be looking to fill holes in their cornerback position by drafting defensive back Marlon Humphrey.
He has fluid hips and he's hard-changing makeup speed. well-versed in a variety of coverages, and plays with disciplined eyes and good balance between high and low responsibilities in the zone.
He's also a good short area acceleration to close out receivers and attack throwing lanes. Reactive athleticism helps erase coverage with his mistakes.
He's extremely competitive with an edge that spikes after he's beaten, aggressive from press with a powerful punch, and he looks to intimidate when the opportunity arises.
He also drives receivers out of bounds and out of the play if their vertical release takes them too close to the boundary. Tears through blockers and attacks downhill, searches for opportunities to strip the ball.
Now that's the kind of cornerback I would love to have on my team, who's just aggressive, and when he's beat, he wants to go whoop the guy who just beat him.
Exactly.
I mean, like we said, he's aggressive off blockers. He's not going to get punked by a receiver, and I think that's really important as a cornerback. We see a lot of them struggle with the tackling game. And
I mean, now in this time of day, with being in the NFL as a cornerback, you can't be afraid going up against some of the receivers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and we see a lot of the running backs taking things outside now, and a lot of more mobile quarterbacks. And we'll probably be able to see him make a few big plays if he gets drafted here.
Well, let's hope.
And with the 15th pick, we are predicting that the Colts are going to revamp their defensive lines, and they're going to do this by drafting defensive end Takkarist McKinley with their pick in the first round.
He's a relentless worker be on the field, refuses to give offensive tackles a snap to catch their breath, and not a content player, and is always charging towards the ball.
He's unusually adept at bouncing off of blocks and maintaining play focus. He has great stop and start change with direction, and long strides eat up ground in space.
He combines his speed with long arms for increased tackles of radius, spins out of washed down blocks to work back towards the play, and constantly stuffs cuts attempts. Raw but pass rush flashes some speed to power. Pass rush counters fueled by lateral agility and effort.
Now what we're seeing with him is he doesn't have one move as a pass rusher. He's got speed, he's got strength, he's able to cut the angles, he's able to use his hips, and that's so important as a defensive end that you have more than one move.
Yeah, you can't, like nowadays, like we said earlier, you can't be afraid. You got to go up strong and do whatever you can. I mean, even if it's something new, you just keep working on it.
And I think they're gonna try and bring it back to the Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis days and try and get some better pass rushers off these ends because they need some help on defense, and I think this is going to be the guy that can really do it for them.
Yeah.
Halfway through the first round, we come to the Ravens pick. And with the Ravens losing their starting tackle to the Lions in this year's offseason, they're most likely going to move a more experienced guard to the outside.
This leaves an opening at the guard position in which we feel like Forrest Lamp out of Western Kentucky will fill. He has a compact build but is not lacking athleticism.
He's able to redirect his weight back inside and shows nimble feet when handling spin moves and inside shots, such as when he played against LSU's Arden in 2015.
He is patient and works feet and hips into position before engaging. Secures blocks with chopping feet and quality positioning.
He bends and looks for low man leverage with his hip thrust under him and uses short, controlled punches in the run game.
He's also clever with his hands in pass protection. Throws short teaser jab with outside hand to entice rushers into premature hand fighting. Effective counter puncher, defending edge, and clears his chest and resets hands if defenders gets into him first.
He's rarely getting bull rushed, and he processes quickly when the defensive runs games up front. Now, that's an offensive line. They struggled a little bit in the run game this year, and that was a big loss for them at tackle. So it's most likely they're going to go with him or they're going to look for another tackle. But I think this is going to be their best opportunity.
Yeah, they weren't projected to do bad last year with the run team, but it just turned out that with the injury and then a few running back issues, they just weren't able to capitalize.
Yeah, and then he's going to be a great player in the NFL. He uses his body well. His pass protection, like we said, he uses that teaser jab, and that really messes with a defensive end's head.
Yeah.
And they try to come off the edge.
All right, halfway done with the first round of predictions. After the break, we will break down our predictions for the possible selections of picks 17 to 24.
All right, that's 16 players down in the first round and 16 more to go. To start us off with the second half, we're predicting that defensive end from Temple, Hassan Reddick, is going to go for the Washington Redskins at pick 17.
The Redskins are in need of more demanding presence on the defensive side of the ball, specifically at the middle linebacker position.
If he gets drafted here, we'll most likely see him playing outside linebacker for the team and then moving a more experienced linebacker into the middle.
He can be successful at the outside linebacker position with his flexibility and ability to make tackles and into the open field.
And that's a big key for a linebacker is open field tackling. You hate.
Yeah.
I know when you watch your team and you see a guy miss a perfect opportunity to make a big play in the open field and he doesn't, you just get
You wonder
extremely angry.
it's like how did you do that?
Yeah.
Like how'd you miss?
Yeah, that's one thing that really gets pushed in the NFL is open field tackling, and I think this guy's going to be very successful with it.
At number 18, we have John Ross going to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are in need of a true number one receiver, and eventually Ross could be that guy.
His height and weight dictate a little bit of what some corners will be able to do to him, but his speed, that's going to help him excel in this league.
Ross hasn't played a single snap in the NFL, but has already broken a record in this year's combine, beating Chris Johnson's record 40-yard dash with a time of 4.24 seconds with his own of 4.22.
Now that's, I don't know if you've ever seen someone run a 4.22. It's fast.
Oh, I watched it on TV. It was
But
there's no words.
But this Washington team this year, they produced a lot of great players, and John Ross is one of them. And I think as experience comes with him, he's going to be a true number one for them. And I don't want to compare him to Antonio Brown, but he's about the size of Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
And you see how successful he is. But I don't think the size is really going to dictate a number one receiver in this league anymore when it comes to speed like that. Oh, I'm taking this one? All right. And then for our 19th pick prediction, we're predicting that Derek Barnett is going to be picked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a defensive end out of Tennessee. And Barnett's size will help him out in the league with a 6'3", 259-pound frame. And he has also decent arm length.
Barnett is quick with his hands and attacks the edge very well to get to the quarterback. Another attribute that all teams love to see is his hustle.
Barnett pursues the ball carrier on every play and is also very good field awareness when it comes to screens. And now that's big in all sports is hustle.
Yeah.
If a coach can see you running to the ball on every play, you're immediately above everyone else. And we see that with him. And then we're going to see his field awareness on screens. And I know a lot of teams like to start running screens and tight end screens and tailback screens. And hopefully we'll be able to see him shut a couple of those down.
I mean, like you said, with the hustle, there's a lot of guys in the NFL who are just like, they don't care.
Yeah, the ball's up there.
Yeah, they're on the team. They're the superstars, MVPs. They don't care.
Yeah.
But now, if a young guy like him comes out and hustles, those veterans guys, they could lose their position.
Yeah, I mean, hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. So
Exactly. With the Denver Broncos picking at number 20, we predicted that they will address their need at the tackle position by drafting Ryan Ramczyk. Ramczyk fires out low and drives with great leverage and has an urgency when getting off the ball.
he keeps his inside hand stiff to protect against spins and is looking like he can be successful in the NFL. He did miss the combine in his pro days due to surgery on his torn labrum in his hip. Now, this is a guy I would have really liked to see in the combine to see how quick he is changing directions and how quick he is
Yeah.
But he'll be successful, especially in that Broncos organization.
Yeah.
They're trying to rebuild that line. So
they're a talented team. They know what they're doing.
he's going to be a centerpiece for that line, I believe.
At 21, we have the Detroit Lions selecting tight end David Gnocchi out of Miami. Gnocchi was great athleticism for his size and position, having a 6'4", 246-pound frame.
He can put his foot in the ground and change direction with tremendous acceleration as well. His size also helps him with vertical, allowing him to go up on a defensive back for high point balls, which could help towards his success.
His only problem is his blocking technique. Gnocchi will have to learn proper technique to get stronger in the lower body and to help his team in the run game.
Yeah, blocking is going to be big, especially for a lot of these teams at the tight end position. But I can see him getting put out into the slot a little bit more, like a little bit like New England does with Gronkowski. He's a big guy. He could be very dangerous in the open field. He changes directions very well. He cuts hard. He's going to be open.
I mean, you hear a lot about these tight ends in the NFL. But then you wonder like when they're going to have that big play. But nowadays, most of them are just there for blocking, like maybe 80% of the game.
Yeah, but it's guys like him who are a little bit more of a hybrid.
Yeah.
And if he can learn to do the run blocking assignments, he could be very dangerous, I believe, for a team. Up next, we have Jerrod Davis, and he is our projection for the 22nd pick in the NFL draft for the Miami Dolphins.
They are in need of someone at the linebacker position, and Davis looks like the player who can do that. With great size and natural athleticism, Davis can potentially be special in the league.
He comes downhill for inside runs and is able to get skinny and squeeze through smaller gaps. His awareness also helps him keep him in coverage, keeping running backs to the sidelines and forcing tight ends off of their routes.
If his vision can improve, he could also shut down crossing the routes across the middle of the field.
And we talked about just a second ago how he gets skinny through the line. That is so big at the linebacker position to squeeze through those gaps that seem that big.
Yeah.
Just to make that game-changing play.
I mean, linebackers, they're the ones who make the big plays on defense. And if he does what he did in college, he can be a great player in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he'll be really successful. Like we said, he pushes tight ends off their routes, so people that we've talked about already, watch out for him.
With Eric Flowers not working out for the New York Giants as a plan, we predict them taking tackle Garrett Bowles with their pick.
Bowles has exceptional size, weighing 297 pounds and a height of 6'5". His biggest upside is his athleticism, having potentially the best footwork out of all tackles in the draft.
He can take quick steps, sink, and scoop defensive ends. His work ethic is also tremendous due to his effort to always try and finish a block. And
then, like we just trying to finish blocks, that's another hustle opportunity where if you, as a coach, see a guy getting put on his back every play, you're going to be, it's demoralizing as a player. And then his footwork as a tackle, that's really important, especially with quick defensive ends and pass rushers.
Exactly.
For the Oakland Raiders, their offseason didn't go how they had planned it. Looking to score a corner back before the draft was a big priority. But with their pick, we predict that they're going to take corner Kelvin King out of Washington.
King's height is the first thing everyone noticed about him, having a height of 6'3", which is rare for a corner position. His upside is his patience in the press and his ability to push receivers to the sideline.
King will have to work on his tackling aggressiveness if he wants to be successful, though.
You know, with players be able to push in receivers at the sidelines, and they can't do anything if that's the case.
You're trapped. You're just trapped. You have your route's over. You better come back to your quarterback and tell him you're sorry. But like we said, like with tackling with corners, it's a big thing in this league. And if he wants to be successful, he's going to have to work on his tackling skills. He's not too aggressive, and he catches. Yeah,
if you can't tackle guys in the NFL, might as well ride the pine.
Exactly.
24 down, 8 to go. When we return, we will finish off our first mock draft here at TCTV with predictions of picks 25 to 32.
All right, that's 24 down, 8 more to go here for the first round predictions at TCTV's first ever mock draft. And to start us off, we have the Texans with their 25th pick. And the Texans are in need of a quarterback for their next season, with Tom Savage set to be their starter.
Well, we're sure the QB is the route they will go. Head coach Bill O'Brien has expressed that he absolutely loves Mahomes, and that's where we think they will go with this pick.
Patrick Mahomes possesses NFL body type with work inside and out of the pocket. He has undeniable confidence to his game, and his accuracy has improved in each season since his freshman year.
He has arm strength and fearlessness to make deep field throws, side throws. He cranks up the velocity to fit passes into tight windows.
And he's also a former pitcher who propels his hips through his release with aggressive torque and never gets cheated on follow-throughs, and he puts effort into the play-action fakes. Now, that's a player people really love as a coach. I mean, as a pitcher, you're really going to know how to use your core when you're throwing instead of just throwing your shoulder out. And confidence, that's huge as a quarterback. You never, I threw a pick, bench me. I threw a pick, let's throw the ball deep again.
And there might be time, like you said, with the tight windows. If you can throw into tight windows, you're not going to have a problem.
Accuracy is very key when coming.
After a loss of safety, Earl Thomas last season, we think the Seattle Seahawks will look to fill that position with a young talent and do just that job is Obi Malifano.
Obi has elite size with premium athleticism and sharp focus when the ball is in the air. He takes paths to the ball with an undercut of the route at the last second as well.
Plus hand-eye coordination to flip the field with interceptions. Former cornerback who has the athleticism to cover matchup tight ends and some big slots.
He uses his big frame to body up seam runners and constrict their windows, and he's also a downhill tackling machine.
Plus, he has a range with wide net to bring runners down once he gets his arms into them.
Now, lost Earl Thomas, that's huge for that Seattle Legion of Boom. That's a 1/4 out of them gone. And I think if you're going to fix that problem there, this is the guy to go. I mean, he's aggressive, he's there, and if he's not successful at the safety position, he has experience at corner, so you can throw him a corner as well.
Now with the 27th pick, this guy, everyone thought that he would have went earlier.
Yeah.
But we project, not that Alex Smith is getting old or not producing, we believe the Chiefs will go ahead and draft a QB with the 27th pick this year in the NFL, in the draft.
With that pick, we believe that it's going to be Deshaun Watson, who they will take. Watson is a tremendous leader and a winner with good pocket posture.
He has good pocket mobility and doesn't show much panic when the pocket gets noisy. Watson was sacked just 32 times over his last 1,181 dropbacks.
He's willing to stand and deliver the ball against rib wreckers on a clear path for him, and he has a history of clutch plays in big games and big moments.
He also throws with anticipation and touch, fires hips through throws from improved drive velocity into tight windows.
He has big, strong hands for pump fakes, and he can manipulate the defenders. He keeps the ball tucked near his chest when scanning and throws with adequate accuracy on the move.
He's a dual threat weapon near the end zone who will create additional preparation time for coaching staffs looking to limit his effectiveness in the red area.
Now, I don't see why the question is with Deshaun Watson. I personally like him. I just don't feel like there's a lot of teams that need him.
No, I watched the championship game, and he's the reason they won.
Yeah, I mean, you saw he got sacked 32 times and over 1,000 dropbacks. He's not taking dirty plays.
No, and he can throw into tight windows, but I just don't think there's any teams looking for a mobile quarterback like he is.
And that's where I think he's going to be successful, sitting behind Alex Smith, even if it's half a season, 2 seasons. He's just going to learn and learn and learn. Yeah. And as soon as he steps onto that field for the first time as a starter, he's going to be extremely successful. Now, with so many departures to the secondary of Dallas this offseason, defensive back is where we think they're going to go with their pick. And with that pick, Adoree Jackson is who we believe they will draft.
Jackson shows greater pattern recognition and is able to maintain coverage around the field. He has necessary hip flip and foot quickness to recover from mistakes in press and laps in coverage in space.
He plays in a variety of coverage techniques and is able to mirror and match from press. He features closing bursts and takes playmaking angles to the throw.
He also has excellent ball skills with well-timed leaps and aggressive tactics at the catch point. Good feel for when to define a throw.
And when he takes it away, and he's a consistent tackler. When he gets there, he usually finishes his task and he's also a high-end return talent who can swing games in an instant.
His eight career return touchdowns make him an immediate return man for any team that takes him.
Now, he's possibly the most athletic player in this entire draft. I mean, 8 kick returns. He's amazing at ball hawking. I think he's going to be very successful if he drops this far to the Dallas Cowboys.
And the Cowboys already have a solid team, so if he joins them,
he'll be a big part of that newly rebuilt secondary that they're working on. All right, here we go. My team. The Packers have desperately searched for their running game in the last 2 seasons, with wide receiver Ty Montgomery playing running back for them this season and the departure of Eddie Lacy. This season, the Packers will most likely look to draft a running back.
We're predicting they take running back Dalvin Cook with the 29th pick out of Florida State. Cook uses choppy feet and compact stride length downhill.
He keeps his feet under him and is able to make lateral cuts at a moment's notice, and he flourishes in zone, gap, and power schemes at FSU.
At his best running wide while setting up lead blockers, slows following safeties and linebackers with hesitation, steps and glances back inside.
He has a second gear to get away from defenders around the corner, and he keeps the ball tucked away to keep him from getting fumbled.
Darting style allows him to escape defenders who show gap commitment too soon. He is quick to flow from first to second read on outside zone plays.
He's comfortable in both one-back and two-back groupings, and he has the rare ability to cut it all the way back across the grain.
He can also change directions with degree of stability and on second level without gearing down. Feet in constant state of motion, despite drops, can be dangerous out of backfield.
Now, if he drops to 29th, I'm going to be happy as a Packers fan. I mean, he's amazing. He's a great running back. He's a great talent. He's not the best running back in the draft, but he's going to be a very solid pick, and I'm guaranteeing he'll start from day one.
Well, you had your turn. Now it's my turn. For the 30th pick in this year's draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers plan to draft T.J. Watt.
Watt produced at a high-end level with just one season of full-time football. He has a desired length for the edge with room to accommodate for more size.
He attacks blockers with an early arm extension and utilizes push-pull techniques to upset their balances at his pet move against run and pass.
He's outstanding hand play in his game and disruptive at first man on the twists. And he's always ready to leap onto the passing lane and deflect the throws.
He strikes fast and early to create leverage points, rarely has helmet involved in play, and is constantly searching for the ball.
He understands arts of quickness and disengagements and can flatten out against the outside run. And he has a good agility to clear trash near his feet and pursue the ball.
He's functional in space when asked to cover, and can get skinny when shooting gaps, and has decisiveness and pursuit quickness to crash down the line and close out cutback lanes, and consistent wrap-up with a finisher as a tackler.
Now, the Steelers, they're bread and butter, linebacker, first round. And, you know, they have a little bit of age on that linebacker. They have some young players. They have a lot of linebackers. But I think you can have a lot of linebackers, but how many of them are going to be successful? And I think that's where T.J. Watt's he's going to get a lot more play time than a lot of the linebackers that have been there for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great in the open field. He's a good pass rusher, and he finishes tackles. So, J.J. Watt's younger brother. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, look who his brother is. Come in.
Yeah, T.J. Swat.
Yeah.
All right. You want to take this one?
Yeah. So with the 31st pick, Super Bowl runners-up, the Atlanta Falcons will most likely be looking into adding at their pass rushing defense, and for that they will most likely look to add Taco Charlton defensive end out of Michigan.
Charlton has a rare combination of size, length, and athletic traits as a rusher. He brings a freaky athletic trait to the table and is still growing into his body.
Flashes instant reaction time off snap and up the field thanks to his twitch. He has enough upfield juice to push offensive tackles into the hasty retreat.
He generates pop through speed to power element, and he's very good with being flexible throughout.
He's also able to sink and swerve around corner if he gets the early lead and race to the edge. Possesses hip swivel combined with shoulder turns to slip and flip around the corner of an offensive tackle he's engaged with as a pass rusher.
He rushes with his forward lean and keeps his momentum downhill, and he uses rip and stab moves as an ominous spin move that could turn into a dominant rush trait in the NFL. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, we know, are good right now.
Yeah.
They're the Super Bowl runner-ups, and if they can get a very decent pass rusher, a very decent young pass rusher, and develop into something special, that's going to be dangerous for the NFC. So
those teams got to watch out.
Yeah, it's something to watch out for. But here's the team you got to watch out for in the AFC right here. Finally, with our final pick of the first year, oh, I forgot it got traded. Finally, with our final pick of this year's draft, we believe the New Orleans Saints, with their second pick in the first round, will choose Evan Engram, tight end out of Mississippi. Engram has good explosion throughout the first 5 yards of his route.
Plus athletic ability with easy opening hips. Nibble feet with quick, controlled strides in and out of his breaks.
He accelerates out of his breaks to uncover from defenders for quarterbacks.
He will have to be guarded by defensive backs, opens quickly to find the ball, successful working all three levels at Ole Miss.
He has true vertical speed to attack the seams, competitive athletic runner, and after he catches the ball, he's able to pluck balls low and high and from behind him. Now, you're lucky that's not going to the Patriots. I forgot it got traded for a second. But he's going to be great. After they lost Jimmy Graham a few years ago, he could look to fill that role and be successful with Drew Brees. But But thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Put Me in Coach.
Thank you to all that have watched our episodes throughout the semester. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Thiel TCTV. I am Corey Lang.
And I'm CJ Skolnekovich.
And good night.